Hello everyone, in today's video we'll be making this crochet mesh summer top. I love these mesh tops. I think they're great to put on over a t-shirt or dress on the cooler summer days. As always, I will show you step by step how to crochet this and also a guide to the stitches required for the different size ranges so that you can make it just right for you.
To make this mesh jumper, I used Demora's Studio double knit yarn. Obviously you can make this in any colour that you want, but for your reference, this is the colour Ocean. You will need any type of double knit yarn. I made a size large and I used 225 grams. So if you're making extra small, 200 grams, and for the 3XL, 300 grams. You'll need a size 12mm crochet hook and some scissors, stitch markers, and a darning needle.
So start with a slip knot and pop in your hook. We're going to make our foundation chains. Now each size you'll want to make a different amount of chains. So extra small, you want to make 35 chains, small 38 chains, medium 40 chains, large 42 chains, extra large 44 chains, 2XL 46 chains, and 3XL 49 chains. As you can see, they're very loose chains, very loose mesh design. So go ahead now and make your foundation row.
So once you've made your foundation row, add 3 chains. 1, 2, and 3. So for row 1, we're going to double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook. 2, 3. And just pop it through one loop of the chain. And then we're going to double crochet into every stitch or every chain along your foundation row. Making sure you just put your hook through one loop, one leg of the stitch to keep it nice and loose. So to continue along the rest of your foundation row, putting a double crochet in every stitch. So at the end of row 1, you've made your last double crochet into that stitch. We then are going to chain 2 and turn your work. And for row 2, we start with a double crochet into the back loop only of the second stitch. So yarn over, count 1, 2, and put your hook into the back loop only. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that's how you start row 2. Yarn over and put a double crochet into the next stitch, back loop only. Make your double crochet. And then continue to make a double crochet into every stitch along the row. Into the back loop only. Keeping your stitches nice and loose. And this is how you do row 2. And we will repeat row 2 until you have 7 rows in total.
Okay, so here we are at the end of row 7. This way work should look a little bit like something like that. So row 8, we're going to chain 4 and then turn your work. Now for this row, slightly different, we're going to make what we call a double treble in every stitch. So to do that, find your second stitch in, 1, 2, and yarn over 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and in your second stitch in the back loop only, put your hook through, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to do this in each and every stitch all the way along this row. So I'll show you again. Yarn over 3 times. And find your next stitch, put your hook into the back loop, pull up a loop, and you should have 5 loops on your hook. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And keep going like this all the way along. In every stitch in the back loop, and this makes a lovely, very nice long stitch, just like that. So continue row 8, doing double treble crochet stitches in each and every stitch all the way till the end of the row.
So we're just coming up to the end of row 8, putting our last double treble into the top of the turning chain to finish. And for row 9, chain 1 and turn your work. And this time, for row 9, simply a single crochet in every stitch, starting with that first one from the hook. Put your hook in, make a single crochet. Hook through, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And just to note, as always, it's in the back loop only. So it's single crochet in the back loop only in every stitch along the row. There you go. Continue to do that until the end of row 9.
So here we are at the end of row 9. I'm just going to finish the row like always and put our last stitch in the top of that turning chain, so a single crochet into there, and that's the end of row 9. Sorry. So now here I'll just pull out the camera. So here is rows 1 to 9. Of one of your back and front panels. What we're going to do now is repeat again rows 1 to 9 again. So to start, we would chain 2 and turn your work. Ready for a row of double crochets. Just like we did for row 1. So we do 7 rows of double crochet into the back loop only, and then we do 1 row of double treble crochet into the back loop only, and then 1 row of single crochet into the back loop only. So go ahead now and repeat row 1 to 9, and I will meet you there. Okay, so you've repeated rows 1 to 9 twice, and here is what your work should look like. We're now on to the very last row. I'll just take out my stitch markers. So for the last row, it's a row of double crochet, so chain 2 and turn your work. And make a row of double crochet into the back loop only, all the way along your last row there. And when you get to the end of this row, popping in your last couple of stitches, and don't forget to put one in your turning chain here. So that is the end
of the rows. So yarn over, pull through some yarn, snip that off and pull it through, just pull it down nice and tight. So this is, I'll just pull the camera out. Okay, so this is your front or back panel, because what you need to do now is make another one exactly the same as this. So this could either be your front or your back. They're both exactly the same. So go ahead now and make another one of these exactly the same.
Okay, so you have two panels exactly the same, front and back. So what we need to do now is measure out where we want the neckline. So you need to find your center stitch and place a stitch marker through both panels, attaching them together. That is the center of your garment. And also pop in a stitch marker in the two end corners. That will be the corner of the shoulder, this side and this side. So now we want to mark out our space for our head to go, our neckline. So here is the center, and in this pattern I've made a neckline of 14 inches. So here is 14 inches on my tape measure, and placing 7 where the stitch marker is. So then I'll grab another couple of stitch markers and then pop the stitch marker in there, number 14, and a stitch marker here at 0. So what we're going to do now is slip stitch from here, attaching these together, from here all the way up to here, and here all the way up to here. So to slip stitch, we're starting with the first corner. I'm going to attach my yarn to the back panel quite simply with a knot. Tie that on there. And in the corresponding corner stitch, in the back loop stitch, put your hook through, and then put your hook through the stitch that you've just attached your yarn. Then yarn over and pull through both stitches there. Then pop your hook, find your next stitch, working right to left. Put your hook in that back loop, and then on the back panel, find your next stitch, find that front loop. Put your hook through there, yarn over and pull through both panels and then pull through again to make the slip stitch. So we are joining with the 2 inside stitches. So it will be the back, find the next stitch, which is here, which is, as you're looking at it, is the back loop. Your hook in there. And the next stitch here, as you're looking at it, put it through the front loop. Then yarn over and just pull through all of the stitches like that for a slip stitch. And we're going to do that all the way till you get to your first stitch marker. So again, find your next stitch, put it into the back loop there, and the next stitch on the back panel, pop it through the front loop, yarn over and pull through all of those loops, which creates a slip stitch. So continue to do that all the way up to your stitch marker. So we've slip stitched up to the stitch marker, and this is what your seam should look like. Now, just to note at this point, this is the wrong side up. So it's a very nice tidy seam from the other side. I just show you the other side. It stitches it together quite nice and tidily. So that's how you slip stitch up to your neckline. Now go ahead and do the other side. So we've joined both sides of the shoulders and we've got the neckline and we've joined this shoulder as well. What I would suggest at this point is don't finish off here, leave your stitch markers in and try the garment on to make sure that you don't want the neck opening to be a little bit closer or even wider, but try it on at this point just to make sure you're happy with this neckline. So, and once you are, what we need to do next is, I'll just scooch this around so you can see it, is this is the opening of one side. Here is your shoulder, and this goes all the way down to the bottom. We're going to mark out where we want the sleeves. So we're going to, for this pattern, I'm actually going to do the sleeves opening of 7 inches. So I am measuring down 7 inches, which is there. I'm popping my stitch marker through both panels, back and front, And if you want to double check that these are level, all you need to do is count the number of rows down that this top one is, and then the one at the back matches. So mark out where you want the sleeve hole to be, and again we do the same on the other side. And then what you need to do is slip stitch from your stitch marker all the way down, attaching both panels together and finishing right at the very bottom. And again, when you slip stitching, slip stitch joining the two inside stitches. So here you would do from the top panel, you would hook through the back loop, and the back panel hook through the front loop. So go ahead now and mark out your sleeve opening. You can make it longer or shorter if you like, on both sides, and then slip stitch from your stitch marker down to the very bottom of the garment. And I will meet you back here to show you how to make the sleeves. Okay, so you've sewn together your panels and then turned the whole thing inside out. So what we're going to do now is the sleeves. So here's your opening for your head, and here is one of the openings for a sleeve. So what we're going to do is I'm going to attach the yarn underneath the arm, where the armpit is. We're going to just attach the yarn here. Just with a knot. And then pop your hook in there and pull up a loop. Then chain 2. Now we're going to go around the whole sleeve opening, all the way around, doing a double crochet. And first of all, what I will do is grab my little box of stitch markers, and I will pop a stitch marker into that first where we've joined, so we know when we've got all the way back around. Okay, so we need to put in a double crochet in each stitch. So find your first stitch, which is here, and as always we're going to put it in the back loop only. Make your double crochet, and then the next stitch, and the next. This first row will be slightly more fiddly because each stitch won't be quite so obvious because it's going up along the side of the garment. But just the best you can, nice and evenly around the sleeve opening, pop in a double crochet into those stitches there. Now on this part here, if your sleeve goes across this double treble section, if you were to use this as putting your stitches in here, you're going to create quite a large gap here, which is fine if that's the kind of style you're looking for. But if you're looking for something a little more even, I'm going to use this second stitch in to put my sleeve stitches in. So instead of working into here, I'm going to work into the second one in. And it doesn't pull the wool so much that it leaves a larger gap. I have seen them done where they are got kind of large gaps randomly placed throughout the garment and they look really good. But if that's not the look you're looking for, then just use that second stitch in. Just take your time on this first row. I say it's a little bit more fiddly, but once this first row is done, you'll have your stitches there that you can just work straight into on your second row. So carry on now, making a double crochet into each and every stitch, evenly around the opening of your sleeve. So go all the way around until you get to your stitch marker. So I'm coming round to my stitch marker. So I'll put my last few double crochets in here. And then take out your stitch marker. And then that first chain 3 that you made right at the beginning of the row, just slip stitch into the top of there to finish that round. And then chain 2. Oops, sorry. Keep on camera there. And pop in your stitch marker again. Now this round won't be quite so awkward or fiddly, because you literally have your double crochets which you can work your double crochets into. So round 2, which is your repeat round, double crochet into the back loop only, each and every stitch all the way around. So just like we did for the body in rows, we're going to just make the sleeves in rounds. So 1 double crochet in the back loop only of each stitch all the way around your sleeve opening there, and go now do that all the way around again until you get to your stitch marker and slip stitch to finish. And what you need to do now is repeat row 2 until you have 7 rounds in total, and that you'll see your sleeve starting to grow a little bit longer. So when you have 7 rows in total, I'll meet you back here and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now we're on to row 8 of the sleeves, and this row is going to be a row of double treble crochets. So start by, just zoom the camera in slightly there, start by chaining 4, and then we're going to double treble into the back loop only of every stitch. And to do this, we yarn over 3 times. So yarn over 3 times and pop your hook into that very next stitch. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And again into the very next stitch and going into the back loop only. The same as we did a double treble crochet round on the body of the top, and we're doing just 1 round on the sleeve. So I'll show you just one more time. Yarn over 3 times, find your stitch, which is just here, and just pop it into the back stitch, back loop there only. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, 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 and continue all the way around this next round of your sleeve, making a double treble into the back loop only each and every stitch, and I'll meet you when we get back to here. So we've done our round of double treble crochet stitches all the way around, and here is the first chain 4 that you began the row with.
and just slip stitch into the top. And that's the end of the double treble crochet stitches. So for round 9, chain 1, and I would suggest on this round to pop in a stitch marker, because we're going to work a round of single crochet stitches into the back loop only. So find your first stitch, make a single crochet, the next stitch into the back loop only, single crochet, so simple as that for row 9 is single crochet into the back loop of each and every stitch all the way around until you get to your stitch marker. And when you've got all the way back around to your stitch marker, just slip stitch into that chain 1 space that you made at the very beginning of this round. So for round 10, we're going back to double crochet. What you want, if you want to try the sleeve on at this point to see if it's what sort of length you want the sleeve to be, because the remainder of the rows now are double crochet rounds, and in this pattern of the one I've made, I've done 6 more rounds of double crochet. You may want to do less, you may want to do more, depending on the length of your arm. But for this pattern, so chain 2, and again, pop a stitch marker in. And we're just simply going to do a double crochet into the back loop only. It's continuing a repeat of row 2. Just like that, double crochets into the back loop only, all the way around your sleeve until you get to your stitch marker, and then slip stitch into this stitch where your stitch marker is to finish. And you want to do, for this pattern, do 6 rounds of the double crochet. So when you've come to the last row of your double crochets for the sleeve length that you want, finish off
and just sew in the end. Just do a little double knot to make it nice and secure. Just weave that in. So go around, tie in and sew in all your ends, and then you can turn it the right side the right way, which, as you can see, when it's the right way, the reason we've done the sleeves the wrong way out is it gives a better texture when we turn it on the sleeve, when we turn it the right way. There we go. This sleeve through. And here you have, you're all done. Here is your mesh summer top. With the beautiful double treble crochet stitches in the middle there, and the beautiful wide sleeves, and obviously you can wear it with a t-shirt underneath to be able to see the t-shirt. But basically that is it. That's your jumper all done.